No, just give it a start.
Okay. We think anybody's gonna rush in the next 4 minutes?
Well, what time is it? You really can't start ahead
Somebody's
of
just
time.
pulling in right now.
10 o'clock.
Have that.
Somebody just pulled in right now.
Okay.
2.5 minutes.
I remember in high school where the audiovisual guy had all the power in the world.
Oh, yeah. Somebody can pull.
He'd roll around, he'd roll around those carts, thinking he was a big guy.
Rick, you're reliving your glory days. I know.
I wasn't the audiovisual.
You should be wearing your pocket protector with your pens.
Take the glasses.
Make fun of me.
Look at this board.
Know that, Rick?
Oh,
What's that? Slave labor can't quit.
What else did you got?
One of my good ones.
yeah. I hope you remember that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Love that.
Yeah.
It feels like he's got to look. But we're not, like, it's okay. We have been doing it for you. We couldn't miss a word.
That would be
We
irritating.
scheduled it to plug out. Well, we
That
have
would
to
be
move
irresponsible.
the things around, yeah, exactly. We're almost there. We're almost there. We got a few hours.
She's got a eye appointment.
We're getting the floors refinished. We can move everything in the basement.
I guess you got it.
So. Yes, it'll be nice.
Yeah, she's answering.
Yeah, well, yes. Mine's not set up. And that's what I'm saying. It's not COVID. She got to a phone.
Okay, it's 10 a.m. Call the meeting to order, Alcona County Commission on Aging. If you'll all stand for the invocation and then the pledge of allegiance. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time. We ask, Lord, that you would just be with us, help us to make good decisions for this board. And we just ask your presence in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Secretary, can I have the roll call? Let's start with the newly elected board members. Newly elected board member Director Rick Casel. Here. Newly elected board member Wendy Bay.
Here.
And newly elected board member Gary Bernard.
Present.
Treasurer Ron Lynch. Here. Director Phil Potter. Here. President Leroy Perrin. Here. Vice President Dolores Schlicker.
Here.
Secretary Robert Turek, present. Director Stan Weinar. Here. And our member at large, Commissioner Carolyn Brum.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay. We have a motion for approval of the agenda.
Make motion to approve of the agenda. Second.
Okay, discussion of that?
Yes.
Sure.
I would like to add just a 2-minute public comment, and I'm going to be specific on this, on agenda items only. In other words, anything that we're bringing up that is for public bills, we gotta. I would go for that, if that would be permissible. It's not to be anything else. It's not comment on anything this board has done before, just to give their opinion on whatever matter.
On the agenda for today. Correct, okay. Any other discussion on that? Okay, so, in our motion is that, with, we want to change that motion or with addition?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, that's a second on that?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Okay, agenda approved. Okay, next will be the approval of last month's minutes. Hope everybody's had a chance to look at those. Motion.
On the purchase of the defibrillators, is that with paddles and everything?
From throughout the state of Michigan, we have.
Sorry, I don't know. Director?
There are pads with it. It's everything that we need to be certified. We have one downstairs, there will be one put up here in the gym area.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have to have a CPR class in order to use that if something happens up here?
Point of order.
Do you have to be trained at all?
Point of order. Should we have a motion before we get into discussion?
Oh,
Okay. Did we have a motion for approval of the minutes or changes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 28th meeting.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Director, if I may, please, I'd like to make a motion on top of this for one moment that I'd be excused from this vote, having not seen, since I haven't seen the recording, nor was I present at the meeting, and Director Case was allowed to join in on this if he wants. When you sit at this board, you either vote yes or no, you don't abstain unless you get board permission. That's been a part of the county book that I have. And so I'm asking for a vote to excuse myself and as I said, Director Case wants to on that. That's fine.
Any objection to that motion?
You know what? I can't hear
I thank you.
him. So let's use those microphones. You try that.
Sorry about that. What I'm asking for is a motion to be excused from the vote. Because I have not seen, I was not here at the last meeting, nor do I see it online. Basically, I want permission to abstain from the vote. You just can't abstain. When we sit at this table, we're either required to make a yes or a no vote unless we have a reason, and then we have to get permission to not vote. That is part of the county, guidelines for voting. So I'm asking for permission to be excused from this vote on the next. And you're welcome to join if you want to be removed unless you've seen, the minutes or seen the meeting.
Wendy hasn't. So probably a good idea. I second that.
So as a procedural point, if we already have a motion and a second, on to approve the minutes, how does this work
We
with
vote
that?
on the second one, and then we vote on. the
I
first.
think you just turned your mic off.
Yeah.
You just turned the mic off.
Go ahead, Bob.
The light was on. So my question was, since we already have a motion and second to approve the minutes, how do we deal with this new request in sequence? What's the order?
We vote to the excuse and then we vote to the minutes. We vote to the motion that I just proposed, and then we vote on the minutes.
We'll hold on that motion for approval of the minutes, and we will have a vote on the new board members abstaining from the vote. Okay. All in favor of that, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and you are excused. And so now, can we have an approval of last month's minutes? A motion.
You've already got that.
Yeah, I
Okay,
made
we don't have
that.
to read it?
No.
Okay. So more discussion on the minutes. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. And the minutes are approved. Okay. Next, we'll move on to our executive director's report.
I'm sorry. You can open up the public comment. You put that in there. But on the agenda.
That's coming at the end. Yeah. It's okay.
I'm sorry, you can't have a microphone because you're.
I can talk
elderly.
loud if I need to. All right. Can everybody hear me? Okay, great. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. So I just want to start with the things that I'm working on. It's been almost 2 months now that I've been here. So I'm diving deep into compliance issues. I want to make sure that everything that we're doing is what we're funded to do. We're serving those that are to be served by the funding that we're given. That includes the money that we get, the money that we spend, the equipment that we have, and the services that we provide. So there's a lot to look at. There are audits, funding, budgets, contracts, just a lot to look at right now. Senior center operations and staff organization is another thing. We are very high in our administrative percentage. That is the percentage of our budget that we spend on administrative things, people. So I'm looking at that too. There's potential there will be a reorganization in the future. And internal policies for staff. I'm just trying to get the ship going right. So those are the things that I'm focusing on. It's taking a lot of time right now. I do need to point out, we do have a budget shortage. It was discovered that in our millage, there previously were 2 millages that we had. One of them expired, and we spoke to some people, not sure how this happened. It was not asked for another, and I don't know if other board members are going to get into this, but we are currently $212,000 short for our 22-23 budget. So I am looking at different ways to cover those shortages. I do request an informational meeting with the board, just for informational awareness on things that I'm looking at right now. I don't think everybody wants to see how I make the sausage on that. You know, it's just a little bit too much for this forum. So I would like to meet with you and just talk about some different things. And then that, I believe, would be put to vote at a later time. All unnecessary spending from the staff has been terminated. In other words, if we don't absolutely need it, we're not going to buy it. We're not going to spend money on it right now. And I appreciate the board's support on that as well. There is a change to our services. So we never used to provide carryout meals prior to 9/11, to COVID. So we have been doing that for the safety of our clients and our residents. That NEMSCA has looked at that procedure and they're turning around on that. They're creating it's a long story with a lot of bureaucracy, but we will no longer be providing carryout meals as of May 11th. And the reason behind that is if you are eligible for a home delivered meal, in other words, you can't get to the center, then we will give you an assessment, and if you're eligible, we'll deliver you a meal. If you're not eligible, then we would like you to come into the center and have a meal. Socialization for seniors is a critical part of their well-being. We want you to socialize, so we ask that you come in. Picking up a meal and taking it home is not what the program was designed to do. So I want to give everybody a heads up, as of May 11th, there will be no more carryout meals. Public announcements. So for those of you who have been chasing our Facebook site, we have a new one, and it is very difficult to find. We all know that there's one that's a previously ACCOA, and there's another one. So we're working to change the URL with a link, that makes it easy for us to say, you go to this, this, this. Right now, it's very long. I probably need to put this up on a card or a poster somewhere, but it includes like percent marks and county and all kinds of numbers. I do know that if you were linked to the old one and you find Robin, not a good way to do business, but if you go to Robin, you can find our new Facebook site. And that's important because we use that site for last minute updates. Our website, it takes a little longer to get announcements out because we go to a contractor and it can take a couple days. So stay tuned for that, please. Staffing. We do have open right now an accounting clerk position and direct care worker positions. They're advertised on Indeed for those who are eligible and interested. We would like to get a great pool for those. We're short about 5 direct care workers right now, so we're a little behind. Can't provide the services that we would like to provide to the public at this time. So we know of anybody who would be eligible, please let us know. Haven't talked to Robin. We are also looking for a new logo. This kind of goes along with the Facebook page and the change. It's a re-imaging thing because it's very difficult to separate the image with it when we have the same logo as the previous Facebook site and all of those things. So we really want to rebrand. The deadline for submissions is May 11th, and we are looking for logos that show a healthy senior. We don't want walkers and canes in there. We want something that shows a vibrant, healthy senior, as we all would like ourselves to be portrayed. So that's on Facebook also, but Robin is collecting those. If you have something or know somebody who's really good with art, we would appreciate additional inputs on that. Legislate, my final, well, 2 more things. Actually, I'm going to jump to one that I failed to put into my guidance, but I want to point out. There's this thing called in-kind services that we can use when we create our budget. NEMSCA requires a match to what money they give to us. If we have people who are donating time or services or money, we can use that as what they call in-kind, and we can use that as our match. In other words, that gives us the ability to, for instance, to take millage money, and we can decide what we use that for instead of having that be part of the match that NEMSCA requires us to use. So there's a log at the door, and if we have, I know Mr. Potter is putting together a fundraiser, but anybody who volunteers for anything here, I would ask that you log in because that's capital to us. We can use that. It's a benefit. So, the final thing is there is a legislative action request. The Michigan Senior Advocacy Council and NEMSCA have requested support for legislation that seeks to support 5 different initiatives. One of them is for additional pay for our direct care workers, which is why we don't have the full complement of them now. So I would like to support that, and if you choose to do so, there are flyers in the back on the right as you walk out, and also a pre-canned letter that essentially you sign, and it is sent to your elected officials, telling them that you support it. That's just what it looks like. I guess I don't have it here. But if you look on the right back there, just read through it. All you have to do is sign it, hand it back into Robin, and we will collect all those. And they are going to, a group of people is going to present those on a seniors day in Lansing. I don't have the, during Senior Action Week, May 15 to 19. And we ask that you return those no later than May 10th. May 10th for that. And pending your questions, that's all I have to report, Mr. President.
I have a question. It's saying $4 an hour increase for direct care workers. Would this include like the kitchen that's making the meals for those people that can't come in?
No, it's strictly direct care workers, those who go into the homes of our clients.
How do you think that's gonna look for our kitchen people, our office people, if these people because they're going into that home to clean, they're gonna get $4 an hour more. But yet this one's in our kitchen cooking these meals 8 hours a day and not get anything.
Well, I'd love to give everybody more money.
Yeah, really.
Bottom line, because our staff is paid very minimally, all of them, but we don't do it for the money, it's because we care about the seniors. This is addressing a lack of direct care worker interest in those positions. Across the state, it's an issue where agencies like ours cannot get enough people to fill those jobs because it doesn't pay enough. They have to use their own cars to get where they're going, they have to deal with some less than favorable conditions a lot of times in the homes. I'm told you can't imagine, and I'm gonna go out and check out some of these situations. But they do a lot of really difficult work in very unforgiving circumstances sometimes. And it's hard to get people in those jobs, and it's hard to keep people in those jobs. So it's addressing a need that we have.
Would that include the meal drivers that has to go in the home?
No,
Wouldn't
ma'am.
include them either then.
No, just the direct care workers. That's where our shortage is.
And that's not, that's it. How come we can't use our existing Facebook page, and why has it been renamed? And why are we having trouble with that? Because we did have a Facebook page,
Yes.
so what happened?
I'm not a mudslinger, but my understanding is that the previous director has taken that Facebook site and has named it now previously ACCOA. We've had a contracted employee who has attempted to contact Meta and asked them to give that back to us. And it was faced with resistance, and we've just decided that it's best to let that go, move on, create our own.
Okay, so basically you're saying, and I'll just bear, the former director won't release that, basically. what you're
That's
saying.
my understanding.
Okay.
Listening, I would appreciate his reversal on that decision.
Good enough. Thank you.
I had one question. Are we offering any kind of award or prize for the winning logo design?
There will be a prize. We have not yet determined what that will be. We're also haven't yet determined who will be the selection team on that. So more to come on that. There will be a prize. We'll make it something worthwhile.
The other question, Director? Madam Executive Director, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next report, I guess that will be mine. All right. Well, we've had one executive board decision that we had to do, which we will need to be ratified by the board today.
Turn this on.
Oh. That was on.
Gotta be a green light, remember?
Okay. Okay, okay, the director that we have, it says therefore the ACCOA Executive Board via unanimous vote authorizes Denise Trelpa and Patricia King to be added as authorized signatories on all ACCOA accounts at Huron Community Bank.
I would make a motion that this board ratifies the unanimous vote of the executive board, which authorized Denise Trump and Patricia King to be added as authorized signatories on all ACCOA accounts at Huron Community Bank.
I will second that.
Okay, first, second, is any discussion? Hearing none,
Patricia King, she is.
our bookkeeper. Okay. Patty. Okay.
Okay, there's I signed the checks, there's, papers that are supposed to sign with that check. Over on the right-hand side, as requested. I know whoever's requesting that article, they sign there. Then over on the right-hand side, are either Denise is supposed to sign or board member supposed to sign. Okay. the people that, requested signing over on the, case signature. Indeed.
I'm not sure about that. What we have before us right now is just to have Denise and Patty to be added to be authorized signatories for the accounts at Huron Community Bank. The other stuff I'm not sure about at this time. You can probably check with Patty on that.
Okay.
Okay, so any other discussion?
I'd just like to make this a roll call vote, please.
Yes. Okay. Hearing no other discussion, we'll have a roll call.
Kaisel,
Yes.
Bain, Lynch,
Yep.
Potter. Yes. Parrot,
Yes.
Schlicker,
Yes,
Banach,
Yes.
Turek, yes. Weinar,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay.
should we sign this right now?
We'll get it right after the meeting. Okay. We just passed that, you can sign it. Okay, next, guess we give a new building report. We had a meeting with the architects. They came here last week, and we had a sit-down discussion with them. And got our director up to speed on that. So anyway, in the short term, we are going to be, the building committee will be having some meetings and discussion on what do we actually need in the center, and get a preliminary layout of what we're going to need. Not exactly all of our wants, but definitely our needs first, and we'll go from there. And then also we will be, after that, we will be searching for a construction manager. And once we get to that point, things will start rolling pretty quickly. And then we will start getting some preliminary drawings, which everybody will be able to take a look at and listen to suggestions. So, Denise, do you have anything to add on that, or?
No. Yes, I'm meeting with the staff on Thursday to determine those space needs, and we are doing a walkthrough tomorrow of the property. So it's moving along. Very excited about that as of the staff. Thank you.
Okay.
She said we're gonna walk the property?
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
Okay, that's tomorrow.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock tomorrow? Okay.
Okay, one other thing that happened, our generator finally showed up yesterday. So, the electricians are just about finished with it, and next, as soon as we get the gas line hooked up, we will be operational, and then I guess we will be eligible to be a emergency shelter center. So, anyway, so that's good news. And that's probably all I have at this time. Turn over to the Vice President report.
Well, I only have a couple of suggestions. One suggestion I would like to make, and I don't know if it's even possible, if we could have like a coffee hour like they do up at the Chosen Ranch for the veterans and our police officers. And I don't know if the police officers can even do it, but I thought it might be a good way to bring some people into the center just to sit down and chat for a little bit and have a cup of coffee. And it hopefully will boost our morale a little bit, get our good name out there again, and, just get people interested in coming. Maybe they'll then come back to eat at night. Our evening meals they're doing fairly good on especially Tuesdays. But last night, I think we only had 6 or 7. And there's nights we don't have, 2 or 3, but some nights we have quite a few, and the menus are down there. So anybody that would like to get a menu, you're welcome to get one downstairs before you leave.
And the meetings, the meals are also at 5 o'clock now.
Yes, they are 5 o'clock. So, and another suggestion I would like to make, I see Mr. or Fairman, I can't remember your last name.
Hawkhorst.
but he was running for our board and didn't quite get on the board. And I would like to suggest that maybe he could be a member at large for us and maybe represent us to NEMSCA or NEMSCA to us, and, you know, take care of those meetings if he'd be willing. But apparently there is some guidelines for to be a member at large, and I'm not sure what that is, but if you're interested, you know, maybe you could talk to Dr. Turek or Leroy, and they could give you the information, what has to take place, right? Isn't there some stipulations or something?
Yeah, I'll refresh, from our bylaws, the member at large board position is open to any Alcona County resident who holds public office or has membership in any regional, state, or area organization concerned with issues of senior citizens. Members at large shall have no voting privileges, but shall be notified of and may participate in any board meetings or business.
I'd be happy to serve the board in whatever capacity would best suit.
Chairman, I guess what I would like to, maybe at this point, we should probably establish a nominating committee, and we can look for members at large, and I mean, nothing, but they can go through the criteria, bring forth names, and then we as a board can decide from that point. Would that be a possibility, Mr. President?
See, why not? Any other discussion on it?
Well, certainly in our bylaws, we're supposed to, by the June meeting of the board, the ACCOA president shall appoint a nominating committee of 3 persons to recruit candidates for board membership. Actually, this is one of the things that's going to have to be addressed when we revise the bylaws, that is that's contrary to what Robert's rules says, that a nominating committee should never be appointed because it brings out what they call a possibility of an undemocratic result, where a chairman can appoint somebody to a nominating committee that would lead to a desired result. So nominating committees are always supposed to be voted on. But according to our bylaws, you know, it has to be done by June. So I can see pros and cons. Obviously, we just had an election that all of the board members were involved in, and I think it went exceedingly well. So is it an absolute necessity? I'm not so sure, but it is in our bylaws that we are supposed to have a nominating committee by June.
I guess my final comment on that is I know that sometimes it's difficult when you have to go back and do things the way that they were supposed to be done or the way they've been prescribed to be done, because it's been abused, say by a previous board, for instance. You know, just like I'm struggling right now with the director sitting at the end of the table. I think she should be next to the president because that is the points of communication. But because of the optics of previous situations, there's been a discoloration of all these things. And I think, you know, it's going to be tough doing the right things, but you have to trust in the integrity of the people that have been put in this position. We either trust them or we don't. I mean, there was always 2 concepts on what to do with government. You know, there was John Locke's approach where you make the things so tight in your constitution that you can't do what's wrong, or you go after what William Penn said, which look, you put people on with character and you trust that they will do the right things. And I think I fall to the William Penn argument where we do the right things and we prove to the public that we're trusted.
I see his point, plus I'm concerned that she's gonna get something with her neck, that she's always having to turn to her left. The public, so I'm concerned about that regard.
Comment.
Are we talking about, I'm sorry, are we talking about the nominating committee or are we talking about?
Both.
Okay, Carolyn?
I would like to suggest you have 3 new board members. I think perhaps there's some merit to getting the 9 of you working together, knowing who's on what committee, how it's going to function. I think that team needs to be created, and you need to each know, I don't mean your place, but you need to know how you function with this group of 9. And then I think, and there's, I thought this before, and I'm going to verse it now, or speak to it now. Maybe, just maybe, you need to set aside for, I'm gonna say 3 months, that's an arbitrary figure. All the bylaws and everything else, follow the obvious ones, but try to have that nominating committee and everything. Your elections aren't until fall, your normal elections aren't until fall anyway. But I think there's merit to you all becoming a team, all 9 players, and knowing who's gonna help with what. I'm willing to bet you don't all really know each other very well. You basically do, but there's a couple of newcomers, and they need a chance to sit down and have a meal together, sit down and have a cup of coffee together, and become this cohesive group. I know you all want to be. I have a great deal of confidence in that. And I just offer that as a suggestion.
My comment to that would be that, you know, our election just happened and now we have a full board, for the first time in quite a while. We have a new executive director and all these things actually are in the works. It's just taking a little bit of time with, you know, everything being new and everything being jumbled up. But rest assured, all these things are in the works and we're working together and you know, there's lots of new stuff, new ideas that are being tossed around and we will get there. So,
Director, did you have your suggestion to do a copy? Is that something that we could put together? Your suggestion with the veterans and such a copy?
Yeah, I would like to see it, but I'm not sure if, like, the deputies are on the road. I don't know if they're allowed to come in and sit down for 10, 15 minutes and have a cup of coffee while they're on the clock. I don't know if that's even allowed, but I would just like to get people to come in and sit down, have a cup of coffee, and then say, why don't you come back to eat tonight? We got, you know, tonight we're having ribs. And so if we could somehow or another get people to come back in here and eat and have fun and enjoy each other's company and talk and laugh and solve some problems.
I got a comment on that. Last Saturday morning, when I went into Roxy's restaurant, there was 3 state troopers, DNR and an undersheriff. There's 3 state troopers and an undersheriff all sitting at the round table, and it was coffee with cows. And they got to sit there for about 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah, there was 3 state troopers, DNR and undersheriff. And they answered, oh, I'm sorry. They answered questions, anything you want to talk about, they talked about, they helped you out, they filled you in on different laws. So yeah, it is, they did down
They can do it.
Saturday morning, yeah.
I would like to, well, maybe Denise and I can get together, maybe Wendy can join us and we can figure out a day or a time or how we're gonna do it. And how, do you charge for that cup of coffee or, because how do we pay for that cup of
No, I
coffee?
don't,
not here.
not here.
I would recommend you get a sponsor for that, because we can't pull it out of our money. I would pay for it myself, but just to let you know, looking at the money.
Well,
I'll pay for it. I've never grown paid for it. Okay.
One last thing, I guess, I don't want to lose fact that this is really about the seniors, so I mean, the senior veterans, I wouldn't mind. Active police, I have nothing against the police, but, you know, let's try to get the seniors back into the senior center first, would be my
Personally, I wouldn't have a problem getting the sheriffs
Yeah.
and the deputies because they take care of seniors too, so.
I would ask it not be on Thursdays. There's already a veterans coffee out on Thursdays.
on Thursday.
Okay, well, that's something that will have to be planned out, so a couple of you directors can get together and talk about that and come up with something and see if we can't get it implemented.
I have one more question. Do we have a member at large representative, do we have a representative for NEMSCA? That goes to their meetings and comes back, and do we have one of them? Not that I know of.
Well, Lori Sauer said last week that it was Shelby. Or last,
Oh.
she said in the last meeting, it was Shelby.
That's an employee, our employee then.
Yes.
I didn't think our employees was supposed to do that. I mean, a board member, because our employee, do they get paid to go up there and do that?
No, volunteer.
The employee is volunteer?
They can put in gas for gas money.
I don't know, I think we should check into that.
I didn't think so.
I will check into that.
Yeah.
Shelby, it does go on paid time, though. She's a member at large. If someone from, because we need someone to represent us. If someone from the board would like to take over that responsibility, or more than welcome to. Thank you.
Is that possible to have, if Fairman would be a member at large, can a member at large be our representative?
I think we're working on getting members at large and everything first,
Okay,
kind of getting
okay.
that cart before the horse,
Okay,
so.
In past history, when I sat on the board before, I think, Paul was our member at large, and he served on the municipal board. So that has been done.
But I think we did determine at the last meeting that contrary to our bylaws, where it says we're actually supposed to have a representative of NEMSCA be one of our members at large, that they have no, that no other board does that, it doesn't sound like. So, that's something else that we would have to address when we redo the bylaws that we have right now, that we're supposed to have a member at large from NEMSA, but they don't know how that got, and nobody on the board knows how that got in there.
Okay, we probably worked that one to death.
No, I'm gonna work at that one more time.
And it's fine.
Does it make sense to have what they're talking about? Does it make sense to have Shelby there because it's direct contact? Or if you put someone in their place, then that person has to tell Shelby what to do, and we lose a lot in the translation. So I don't have a problem if we want to pay Shelby to do it, if it's more of a direct communication to get her job done. So what do you think?
I think we need to look into it.
Okay.
I need to ask
Well-
NEMSCA if it's a requirement for us to have a representative, and how other agencies deal with it. The communication will be key, so if someone from the board does attend, we would ask them to write a report back to us.
Okay, one last comment.
Okay.
Hey, John.
Oh, sorry. Okay, what they're talking about, I've been on the board for quite a while, and I did the same thing as what they did. It's all volunteer. The only thing that you can get from NIMSCA, if you turn in a mileage from wherever you're going, and you get reimbursed for gas, some gas, I don't know just how they work that, but I do know the only thing you get from NIMSCA as far as pay is gas mileage if you turn in one of their forms. And Shelby, the only way she's getting paid is if we count this as her working time and gets paid for it.
I think at this time, we're gonna turn the research over to our executive director,
Got it.
and we'll find out what has to be done there. And now I guess we move on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Lynch, Director Lynch.
Okay. Beginning bank balance. $100,247.34. Cleared checks, $13,562.58. Cleared checks and payments, $4,150.95, leaving ending balance of $19,658.97. That is it.
Any comments on that?
Just a quick question, sir.
Okay.
Super fleets is what? Pardon? Super fleets? Right at the top of the bill. Whatever, 324.
Oh, up here. Yeah, right there.
Superfleet. That's a really good question. Superfleet, I believe, is gas, isn't it? Superfleet?
I believe so. I'll have
Yeah,
to look
that's
into
for the
that.
gas.
Super stuff.
Credit card, I believe. You could, check with Patty on that.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I hear a motion to accept the, treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Subject to audit.
Hmm?
Subject to audit.
Of course.
Oh, pardon?
Subject to audit.
Yes,
You have to add that in.
okay, subject to audit. Thank you.
A second.
Okay, the first and second, any discussion? Roll call?
Money, yes.
Kaisel,
Yes.
Bain.
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes,
Potter,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Schlicker,
Yes,
Benab,
Yes.
Turek, yes, Weinar.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Report passes, okay. On to, Mr. Secretary.
Mainly the election seemed to, by all accounts, go well. Over 140 votes, that was up from 120 some last fall, which is pretty rare for a special election to do that well. I think we need to commend Robin, who was asked to do many things that she hadn't been asked to do before to make the election more secure and more private, more anonymous. So I would commend her, and hopefully we'll get together and see if any other changes need to be made before the fall election, but by all accounts, it went very well.
I thought it went well. I was, amazed to see, what was it, 394 votes in that election, so almost a record. Any other comments? Do we need to approve that report? Is there a need to approve the report? That's just a report. I don't wish to report this report. Okay, then we'll move on. Okay. Financial report, all right. Moving on to unfinished business.
did we want to do these?
We don't have any members here to do that, do we?
Food
So,
service
yeah.
and transportation ones?
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Madam Director, would you like to do those reports for the food service and?
I'm honestly not familiar with that.
Okay, well, maybe we'll let the Vice President take care of that then.
Okay. I can do something I can do in the future if you like.
Sure.
Yeah, because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to announce.
I guess you can just read them off there what we have.
Our hot meals, hot meals over 60 was 1,753. And I am sure that that includes Meals on Wheels. And the frozen meals, 920. And the staff, the sacks and staff was 2,673. I am not real sure what that includes. I'll have to ask. If you want me to make this report, I'll ask next time, so I know what each one of these really means.
I think our director will handle those in the future.
Okay. And homemaking hours, 344. Personal care was 56 and respite was 58 hours.
Transportation.
Apparently, we had 27 transportations in March, and we turned away 23. Now, I don't understand the 23. Does that mean out of county maybe?
Ma'am, that would be out of county and also not age 60 or over.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're still getting requests from Bay City or Iosco or Alpena or whatever, and we are declining them.
Yes, ma'am, that's one of those compliance issues where we are not authorized to use our funding to transport people out of our county and also who are not 60 or over.
Okay. I'm not sure what, so DHS paid $515.50. And I'm not sure what DVA is. What is DVA? That is veterans. They paid $141.24, and self-pay was $1,996.
Denise, did you say our average cost per trip is $421?
That's my computation, and that's actually a little low, given that the insurance company requires us to have tracking devices and cameras. So the amount of insurance that we pay as an agency, a large chunk of that, we need to look at how much is charged to each department or each program, but a large chunk of that is that transportation program because of the extras that they require.
If we had 27 transports, does that $1,996, does that pay for those 27? Or are we still in the hole?
No, that particular program is costing us quite a bit of money. I actually put together, that's what I wanted to meet with everybody about, to discuss that program. It's been getting cleaned up because of the people that were getting served that should not have been getting served. And now the cost per client has gone up exponentially.
Okay, so you just need a little time to get all these figures in order, and then we can discuss it.
No, we spoke last night about a summary, and I did not get it in your box. But we as a group, I think, I would like to give you some more information about some of the details about a couple of the programs, things that I'm discovering as I go through my list.
Especially the new board member.
Yes, everyone, it's new to me too, so we're all learning. I would like to report separately, not report, but just an information gathering. This is what I'm finding, opportunity for you to ask questions. What rabbit holes do you want me to go down? I could go into each program and we'd be here for several hours. And I would just rather be able to share information with you and see which direction you want me to go with it so that you can make a vote in the future based on all the information that I'm gathering.
Okay, I have no more.
Dr. Kurt, did you want to attempt that finance report, or have you had time to?
If anybody has any questions regarding the finance report, I can give some. It's not really in the financial report. I would say that whether we call it committees or old business, the opening of the new finance accounts has taken longer than expected. So, but it's still in the works.
Okay. All right. Considering that, I think now would be, we have any unfinished business?
I could do some of that. The only document in there is what we had talked about in a previous meeting, that when the internal controls audit was being done, which it's still being done, we had asked them to set aside how many expenditures they found that were directly related to the new hub project, and set those aside so that we could look to those bills were paid out of ACCOA general funds, so we can look to recoup those funds, get those back out of the grant money and put those back into ACCOA funds. So this is what they came up with. And over 2021 and 22, as well as 2023 year to date. And so the grand total that was spent was $308,136.80. So that is money that I think you have double checked with MEDC, that we have no trouble moving back into reimbursing more or less from the grant funds into this. Once we get the new accounts open, I think that'll be easier. But the interesting thing about it that I noticed, and I think you all probably have noticed, that the grant was finalized late summer of 2022, and yet in 2020 and 2021, a total of $198,000 or thereabout had been spent in those years. So what to make of that? I don't know, but so that was good that those funds we'll be able to reimburse those more or less back into our operating funds.
Okay. So, in light of that, are these final figures here as far as that part goes?
As far as I know, these are final.
Okay, so do we want to entertain a motion to restore the back in the general funds, or do we need some more research on that?
I would say if we need to do that, then yes. I mean, I think that these are final funds that I think we can use these. And then moving forward, once we get the new accounts open, any hub-related expenditure will be paid out of a separate account as opposed to being paid out of ACCOA funds and then having to go through this whole process again. So hopefully this will kind of close out the ACCOA's general fund involvement with the hub expenditure.
So,
Make a motion to move the money on second.
can I ask a question? So when you say hub, just to be very clear, this is the building project for the senior/housing center that was initially proposed, right? That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, and just to be very clear that you've said that we've spent, the ACCOA has spent $308,000 of money out of the ACCOA general budget for this building project. That's correct.
As far as I know, and as
So-
far as what the.
So I just want to
accountant
make it clear that during this whole process, I was in the assumption that no monies were being spent for this building project during those years. So that was the assumption last year and the year before. But now it turns out that no, indeed, there was $308,000 spent on the project. Okay, nice one clarification on that. That's correct. So,
Gary.
yeah,
Bob, do you want to make the motion?
I will make the motion that we move from the grant funds back into ACCOA general funds, a total of $308,136.80.
I will second that motion.
okay, before we have discussion on that,
I'd like to caution our executive director not to go into a happy girl dance over this.
Too late.
So.
Money spent.
Okay, so we do have a first, a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Weinar,
Yes.
Turek, yes. Banuk,
Yes.
Schlicker,
Yes,
Perrin,
Yes.
Potter,
Yes,
Lynch,
No,
Bain,
Yes.
Kaisel.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Happy.
I had one other thing with old business. Did we talk to Brad Cole? He was out of town. He was in Florida. We were gonna talk to him about splitting the fee to put gravel down here. We have the volunteer that's going to spread it, but we were gonna split the fee for the flick and sand and gravel to put.
right. I talked with Phil and he's gonna go up and talk with Brad and make sure that both, that Brad and us is gonna fund it, because Brad said he would. But
So that is the
Phil wants
understanding
to,
at this point.
Phil is gonna talk to him and get some dates and figure out when to do it and everything. Phil's gonna take care of that then.
And then I had one other old business thing that I've spoken to a heating, air conditioning contractor out of Standish or Omer that is going to be calling Phil about coming in and doing a energy audit type of thing, such as what they did, what consumers did, but from the heating and cooling standpoint. So they thought maybe by the end of April that would be done.
Need to ask, I don't know if anybody here knows, but I'm not sure if it's every year or every couple of years, we have to have a boiler inspection. Does anybody know what the date is on that?
I can check out on.
Okay. Because there's only two companies in northern Michigan that does that, and that'd be Sweet and Goya that can do that.
normally there's a date when they come in and do it. Normally there's a date on the,
It should be on the boiler.
it should be right on the boiler when they get it.
Yeah,
So,
so we need to check that. We do not want to fall out of compliance with that.
no,
And then I just had one other thing that kind of all ties into several different questions. We had talked about whether we wanted to have empty out some of the storage and have a garage sale or rummage sale, as well as some of the unused equipment. But then that would kind of get into the question of what does this board envision this building being used for once the new facilities are built? I mean, as well as the estimate we got to put in new light bulbs and such. You know, how much money do we put into this building? If the board doesn't feel like we're going to keep this building or that we're going to sell it, or as Director Banuk had possibly recommended, even donating it, if it was donated to us, that we would donate it to City of Lincoln or Village of Lincoln, for instance. How much money do we want to put into things like this? Do we want to even empty out the attic, or do we want to sell extra exercise equipment? I mean, so it's a question that I think we're going to have a dialogue on what this board thinks moving forward in the next year and a half, what they envision this building to be used for afterwards.
Yeah, well, my comment on that would be, my comment as far as that goes is, regardless, I would love to clean out that attic. There definitely be some more storage space up there. As far as selling any equipment at this point, I don't think I would recommend that because we don't know what we can use in the new building at this point. So that would be my recommendation. Anybody else has comments?
Well, we do have quite a bit of kitchen equipment that we brought back from Glenny. And I'm sure that NIMSCA put money on it, so it's in our inventory, it should be. But if we're gonna have a new building, do we really want an old stove? Or do we really want old, I mean, our kitchen pots and pans, that sort of thing is probably good to keep. But there's a lot of stuff over there, an old steam table, just a lot of things, hospital bed. I just can't even tell you how much stuff is stored, those chairs, folding chairs. We probably got a couple hundred of them, maybe more. And we're paying storage on all this. And I think we should have a nice garage sale, and maybe we could take, as long as we don't sell anything that NEMSCA doesn't allow, but I think we should take that money and put towards a new vehicle for home delivered meals, because we've got to, and if we're gonna do something with this building, we gotta think about this roof. But we should start some kind of a fund and put some money in it, and for our home delivered meals trucks. They've all got well over 100,000 miles. The white one is almost 300,000. And they're going to have to be replaced sooner rather than later, I think. But I think a garage sale, not put a fortune on this stuff. Denise?
So one of the things that I'm doing in terms of the compliance issues that I talked about is I've asked Shauna to take on the role of inventorying all the things that we're discovering from NEMSCA or the county, all the things that we bought with federal, state, or county funds, and we are accountable for those, and we need to know what we can and can't do with those. Things that were donated, can probably just sell those outright, but I would ask for some time to identify which of those things we're responsible for accounting for. Some of those things they might want back, or they might, if we sell them, then they might want the money. We're looking into the policies and procedures that they have in place too.
And when we got this building from the county, there was probably 100 or more chairs in this building that NEMSCA didn't buy them, taxpayer money didn't buy them. They came with the building.
Yeah,
But you also gotta remember, the building used to be used for parties, and it used to be used for
Right.
weddings, and the tables were set up and the chairs were being used. You get rid of that, then you eliminate being able to rent this building out again. So I think we have to get a committee together and say, okay, with the board,
Okay,
and inventory and say, what is the future plans? Are we gonna turn it into a youth center? Are we gonna have parties? Are we gonna have graduations? Are we gonna have weddings back in here? Until we get our new building, we won't know all that.
and we do have a buyer that is very interested in this building. So we can, maybe
Still have
we
to-
should have a committee and discuss all this.
We still have to look down the future. We have to
Right.
know what get a plan and bring it back to the board.
Any chance of selling this building is ways off, so. But yeah, that is something that we need to get a committee together and discuss. There's lots and lots of stuff there that,
We can go on forever.
okay. Let's see, old business, do we have any, were we on new business or old business?
Old business.
Old business, okay. Any new business?
Well, I had some discussion there and doing some research on committee formation, that it's really, for lack of a better term, it's kind of considered old school to have numerous committees. We had at one time here listed 10 different committees. And if you do the research now, there's only 4 committees that are considered essential. One is the executive board committee, a finance committee, a governance committee, and a fundraising committee. So I think we as a board need to decide how in-depth we need to be with committee formation. For instance, we just did an election without a committee. All board members just stepped up and did what needed to be done. I know new board member Wendy Bain has volunteered to help the executive director redo the employee handbook, which is high up on her list. Well, we didn't need a committee to do that. She just stepped up along with Rick Casel and said they would be involved in that. So I think we need to revisit how many committees we need and what's the function of a committee. If a committee is just to get things done, if we can just step up and do things, we don't need a formal committee to do things. So I think that's something we'll need to discuss.
Going along with Director Turek, I would say we could form a committee when necessary. In other words, something comes up, we need a group of people to look into it and just do it right then and there. It comes together, it functions, it goes apart. I mean, you know, even if you're talking about finances, sometimes finances can be broken into different things. And so, you know, somebody that may have been good on one financial thing may not be good on another financial thing. So we just change the committee as needed to attack the subject. I would be good with that as well.
So that would be more my comment also. I think we can just appoint committees as needed. It's pretty much how we've been working. In the past, we've had all these formal committees. They never met, so nothing got done. There weren't any, you know, meetings, meetings or notes, minutes or anything, so.
Well, even in the past, I remember, you know, when Susan Craig used to be director over this, sometimes those meetings took place just before the formal meeting, so, you know, again, to the effectiveness of them, I would say, you know, as a need arrives.
Any other comments on that?
On new business, I've been working on the fundraising committee. I have Pam McKinnon and Judy French helping me. Can use a lot more people if they would like to. Our fundraiser I'm looking at is a cornhole tournament. It's gonna be held June 3rd. It'll be up here at the senior center. Mr. D's Entertainment, the 45th Parallel Cornhole team are gonna put it all on. It starts at 11 o'clock with warm-ups, 12 o'clock with what we call the backyard throwers. And it's $25 a player, 4 rounds for your seating bracket. And then at 2 o'clock, the competitive throwers that throw all competitions, that's $25 a player, 4 rounds for the seating. 5 o'clock approximately will be a combo competition backyard thrower together. That'll also, you have to pay $25. All pros, 50% of all entry fees go to the ACCOA. We're gonna pay out competition or competitive throwers will be a breakdown percentage of our income. And the other ones will be a cash prizes. Will be for the backyard throwers. Right now I have prizes that's been donated. I have 2 gift cards to the Village Home Center. I have 2 lock boxes from Sunrise Firearms. I have 4 cups and mugs from Robbie Klink, who does engraving for mugs like similar to this. I have 2 gas cards from Pick and Sons. I have 2 pizzas Supreme from Tim and Tina Swayzak. I have 2 $40 gift certificates from Alcona Motors and 2 oil changes from Hart Tire. 2 $50 from Roses, 2 $25 from Connie's. And we haven't been, I have to go to Roxy's yet, I have to go to the mountain yet, or Pam, somebody will go there. We're looking at a donation from, the Brew House gave a donation, I don't know how much yet. Judy had an appointment today, so it is in the process, we are working on it. We're gonna have a food truck. I sent a letter to Gordon Foods, for the food items that the food truck asked, this to the board, the food truck asked, they have 2 options. One is to pay the food truck $200. We purchase it, we get the food, they prepare it, they serve it, we get 100% of the money profits. The other option is they buy the stuff, they prepare it, they sell it, and we get 15% of what they take it. So I guess I wrote a letter prior to the board meeting, asking Gordon's Food to donate a case of boneless pork butts, a case of canned bush and baked beans, a case of shredded coleslaw, all this, case of a gallon of coleslaw dressing, a case of nacho cheese, 2 cans of large nacho cheese, 8 dozen hamburger buns with, that was quite a few, 2 packages of large paper serving bowls, 50 paper plates, napkins, and utensils. So if I haven't heard back from Gordon's Foods, I also submitted a letter to Walmart for 6 $50 gift cards for prizes. I haven't heard back from Walmart either, but I'm also gonna submit a letter to Meyer, because they do things like that for community fundraisers. Hopefully they'll support the senior center. So right now, I guess it's the board, want me to continue to keep going on, 50/50 raffle. I did check with the state of Michigan. If we submit for a small raffle license, it's $15 online registration with them. And if we get it, we get it. If they turn it down, of course, then we can't have that. But they said you can do up to $500 total prizes for that day. So if you do a 50/50, you can give up to $500. I also talked to Sunrise Firearms. They will sell us a rifle or a shotgun at cost. I talked to Glenny Sportsman's Club. They will come over. They don't need a raffle license because they do what they call a Super Bowl board. They take 100 squares and put it out in front. You give them $10 a square. The only time you need a raffle license, they said, is when you present the participant with a ticket. You get no tickets with a board. It's your name, you sign your name, you put the $10 down. They do the gun giveaway. All we have to do is purchase a gun for cost. And the gun will be somewhere right between $350 and $375. We can make $1,000 on the board, so it's $600 profit, right around. And I mentioned to them, they said, what's in it for us? And I said, if you would be willing, board approval, to do the gun giveaway, we could split half with them, so that would be a $300 profit, and not do nothing. They come, they set up the board, they have it for, everything there, and they do that. The one I talked to the lady in Lansing, she said, if you're gonna do that, you may wanna do a $75 license for a one-day raffle license, and then you can do it on our own. So I guess it's up to the board if they want me to continue with it, to look into everything we make is gonna go, of course, for future projects and committees of the senior center. So all proceeds. So I guess that's up to the board if they want me to fill out that raffle license. I can do that. I will definitely need somebody who's better on a computer than I am. I need some help. Somebody to sit down with me and say, this is what we have to fill out. So there's where my volunteers come in.
Will there be alcohol?
BYOB, I was told by the insurance, we checked with them, the insurance said that we could have it here, so. It was a BYOB, and I was told by 45th Parallel Cornhole and Mr. D's Entertainment that you want to have alcohol because that's when you start selling your tickets and that's when you start selling your raffles. And that's when they start getting competitive, they start drinking beer and they get competitive and it'll be an all-day thing. They're gonna play music up until, what was the last, 9 o'clock at night. Additional games are still gonna be played and music will be played until probably 10 o'clock or 11
But we're
o'clock.
not making any money off alcohol sales?
No, we're not selling alcohol.
We can't get a day license or anything like that?
That's up to the board.
Well,
I
So I guess I have a question
Go ahead.
as far as insurance wise, having alcohol at an event, do we have any liability?
I checked with that on the insurance company and they said, we're covered on them. We've always been covered prior to the last board. We've always been covered to have dances, BYOB. They actually have a bar, they had a bar set up in here before. The Turkey
I'm just trying
Federation,
to clarify, so yeah.
yeah, so. That's where I am on that, still looking into different prizes, more prizes. I want to pay down, I would like to pay down 10, 12 places. So if you're a backyard thrower and you pay your $25 per person, which would be $50 a team, and you finish 12, well, hey, you might get two gift certificates, two $25 gift certificates from Connie's for breakfast. Or you might get a $50, from Roses, depends on You might get an oil change at Oklahoma Motors or tire, that's $50. I just paid 53 something for oil change at Hart Tires. And they donated 2 of them, you know, because you got a team, you have 2 partners, so, yeah, I'm continuing to make the rounds. Like I said, we need more people to help me, and so if anybody's interested in giving me more help, I'm welcome it with them. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, you just thank God for Phil and Carrie.
And Pam and Judy's been
Yes,
running.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything you need for us?
Just an approval for, you know, if the board's okay with me submitting a raffle license for $15, I would do that. If we don't need a raffle license, then I wouldn't submit for one, but, it's up to the board. I don't want to go out, I don't want to do it on my own. I want the board's approval to, just so I don't want nothing to pass.
If I made a motion to allow you to continue forward, should I put a dollar figure or something on there?
Not to exceed the $70
or
yeah.
or $100, whatever.
Yeah,
I would make a motion to allow Phil to continue with the not to exceed a $100 figure.
I'll second.
Okay, the first and a second on the motion. Any discussion?
Did you have this, the proceeds earmarked for one thing in particular? Did you decide like?
all proceeds is gonna go to future fundraiser or to future projects and activities at the senior center. I do have it earmarked, yes, for projects. That way, should we need it for what, you know, the new building here or whatever, future projects and activities. We have no funds for that right now. I don't even know if it's in the budget. Because I don't know if one's ever been submitted, so. Prior to this board. I don't know. So that's where I am on that one. We have a motion on the floor. And a second.
Any other discussion on it?
I'll help with the applying for it. I've done it before.
Oh, awesome. Okay. That would be great. Because it's online.
Right.
Volunteer, Gregor.
I am, yes, definitely.
Okay, we like that. Okay, it involves money, so I guess we need a roll call.
Weiner,
Yes.
Turek, yes. Bedock,
Yes.
Schlicker,
Yes.
Perrin,
Yes.
Potter,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yeah,
Bain,
Yes.
Hazel.
Yes.
What is information at this point? Usually in the last board, so I guess I just need clarification. The president usually hasn't voted unless there's a tie. Are we still doing that because we were 5 and now we're back to normal again? Or, I mean, I'm not trying to.
I think Bob can talk.
Yeah, we talked about that at a previous meeting, that according to Robert's rules and order, in a small board, which is what this would be considered, the president has every bit of right, not only to vote, but to conduct the meeting, make motions as any other board member. A larger board, no, pretty much restricted to making sure the proceedings proceed according smoothly, but on this side of the board, he has behaved just like every other member.
Okay, any other new business? By the way, the motion did pass, so. Okay, hearing for the new business, we'll have time for public comment and be limited to 3 minutes, and it will be limited to items that we've discussed today on the agenda. So anybody have a comment, like to speak?
Patty
Do you,
Thomas,
yeah, I'm sorry. State your name and where you live.
Patty Thomas, Harrisville Township. So I was confused about Director Cook's original statement about the public comment. I was thinking that you were saying that as different options that you were going to vote on were brought up, that the public could at that point comment on. Is that not the case? are your comment about
I'll answer that. Your
public comment? So it's still confusing to me. I was expecting that there, from Commissioner Warnock's, Director Warnock's statement, that there would be an opportunity as discussion on a specific issue was brought up. So I would like clarification on that. And if your position now is that things could be brought up like any particular awareness that people in the community have about senior issues that need to be brought before this board, is that something that we should do in, say, a letter communication? Or I had sort of viewed this opportunity for public comment to be the time that you would say, hey, I noticed something, you know, that sort of input, but apparently that's not going to be part of this board. And the other issue I wanted to comment on was, I do know that there are seniors that are looking for transportation for appointments that are outside of the county. So does your policy mean that they have to be going to a doctor here?
No, they just have to live in the county. So if they live here, we can take them or wherever their appointment is.
I thought that you were saying that you could only transport within the county, but that's.
No, that's just the person has to live in the county.
Okay, and just a point of information for you. When I was on the DHHS board as a county representative, I do know that the court representative on that board, Tammy Ranger, attended all of our meetings on the clock. She was there as an employee and gave, you know, good and helpful information about things that related to DHHS. Another thing that I was wondering about, I did find the fundraiser report to be very enlightening and very helpful and lots of detail. I really would like to see more information like that on the treasurer's report, because we got the big picture, but things like I am personally interested in numbers on, you know, things that are regularly paid. I know that the internal audit financial issue was not resolved when the question was last asked.
Just a few seconds left.
Okay, I would like to hear more specific things on the treasurer's report, like the cost of the internal audit.
Okay, thank you.
No, but I thought the time had already expired.
Yeah, I was looking at something here, so, sorry. Any other comments?
Kim McKinnon, Lincoln and Spruce. NEMSA has a hold on any reimbursements until July, just for information. So like, you know, you were saying you get reimbursements for volunteers and stuff. Right now, there's a hold on it because I met with Brooklyn downstairs. I'm not sure I agree that the seating of the director needs to be next to the president, because that was an issue with us with the last one, because it seemed like he ended up running the meeting. Just something to keep in mind. It's nothing against you. I love having you here, but it's something that we all were like, it was a little too close. And I know that we all are supposed to have trust and everything, but we're coming out of a relationship where there was not a lot of trust. I agree with Carolyn that you all need to get together, spend some time together, get to know each other before you start opening up more, and nothing personal, more people and appointing new people as, what you called it, board at large, member at large. Get to know each other and work together before you start bringing in others, because you got a lot on your plate. You might not even realize. And I think it's just too close, just because it was a close election. I know it was very, very close, and I understand that you want him to be involved because it was so close, but we voted, and that's how it was. And Wendy got the vote and let her do her job and shine, just my opinions. And microphones. Please, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Other comments? Okay, at this time, last meeting will be director's final comments. I think
I think
Gary
I
had
would
comments.
like to direct a couple of things. Number one, the 2-minute on agenda, I guess was misunderstood. That would have been at the beginning of the meeting. You publish an agenda. If you got anything to comment at that point, and you're allowed 2 minutes to just give your opinion on a subject. So we have the input of the public into the meeting. You know, we're still gonna do what we're gonna do, but, you know, it gives them the chance to talk on an in subject. Now, as far as the other comment that was made about the director, just because something was done in the past, I'm not going to hold against the person that is new. Supposedly, the way this works is the board directs the president on what to do. The president communicates with the director who deals with all our employees at the bottom. And that relationship has to be intact. Since we are a board, if we have a problem with that relationship, all I need to do is say, I have no confidence in the current president, and we can vote him right out. So, you know, that is the way we handle things. It would not be, you know, I just can't see paying for the sins of a previous administration to dictate how we handle things going forward. Yeah, we're gonna do things that are gonna cause some discomfort, but you know, that's just the way it is. We have a job to do and we need to do it accordingly to everything we have. And those are my only 2 comments. I have nothing else, other than I thank everybody for having me on the board.
Thank you, Gary. Any other director comments? Okay. If not, I'm gonna take just a minute. I just want to brag a little bit on our board. I think we had a great election. Although we didn't have to have an election, we actually had according to the bylaws, we could have just appointed new members to the board. But we decided, we thought it'd be a more democratic way if we held an election. And we did. We had a fantastic turnout. I think we have 3 fantastic new members. Very qualified. Mr. Queso, Director Queso. You know, the first time I ever saw his resume, I told him it made me feel stupid. And Wendy, she has quite a resume of her own. She's be a great addition. Gary, I think most people know Gary. He is a ton of experience, brings a lot to the board. And also, I'd like to thank our new executive director, Steve Trelp. I think she's done a wonderful job. She was thrown into the Shark Tank, and she's still swimming. So I just wanted to take that opportunity, and I want to thank this entire board. Everybody's done a great job, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank all of you. And so that will conclude our meeting. Motion to adjourn.
Sorry.
Do we have a motion first?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, any discussion on that?
No.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Yes.
Aye, adjourn. Thank you.
Well, I'm out of here.
Well, that was quick. I didn't even hear the motion. Oh, that's maybe it was there, you see.
Thank you.